And of course, another main component in this process is understanding what is actually good food and what is bad food.
Sure.
It's a matter of having the right nutritional knowledge, and we do get into that in the book. That's one of the main pillars that we talk about. I suppose we should mention that you can get that free bonus audio where we talk about the three pillars that kind of undergird the entire framework of Healthy Mind, Fit Body. And you just sign in the opt-in form with your email address, and you can download and listen to that, because that's kind of the framework from which we're working with these ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the next two I jotted down here. In order to treat myself differently, it's important that I recognize my pattern of behavior, come to terms with my feelings, accept the feelings that I have and not disown them, learn to see how my short-term pleasure affects my long-term goals, enjoy healthy food, and disfavor unhealthy food. And then the last one, if I were to see unhealthy eating as a way of taking care of myself, I would see that I deserve better. I would have more compassion for my feelings. I would try to comfort myself with truly good things. I would see self-damaging behavior for what it is. I could see food as something that's good for me rather than a guilty pleasure. I would evolve into the self that I aspire to be. So, if you look at the way that people try to take care of themselves by eating certain things and eating excess of things, it's somewhat paradoxical. There's psychological payoffs for doing things that are both healthy and unhealthy. And it fosters this kind of like cycle of dependence on that bad eating pattern. But it's important to be focused on what you aspire to be and keep your long-term goals in mind as you pursue your quest for a healthy mind, fit body, right?
Yeah, and a lot of this does require that independence and to kind of step out from the crowd. That's a lot. And that's, I think, the hardest part is just being able to, like you said, recognize, that you're doing this for yourself. And when you get into the crowds, I think it becomes a lot more difficult. But then also just even, by yourself, getting in that pattern of constantly rewarding yourself and having, oh, I had a long day, I'm going to go get a pizza. Oh, I had a rough time with this call. I'm going to go eat a gallon of ice cream or something.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. It's pretty common. And I've known a lot of people that have gotten into that pattern. And, I think that's where these sentence stems come in, and you can really make a lot of headway and actually gain self-esteem, which is what's required here to kind of break out of those patterns.
Yes, it's honoring yourself in a deeper fashion than the typical ways that people go about doing that. And as you become more aware of all these things, you'll notice that your behavior changes in concert with that. And, as far as eating things in excess, you mentioned in your recent blog post that you munch on almonds throughout the day. And that's a great source of energy. And you don't have to worry about putting on the fat, because almonds are fat. And fat doesn't make you fat. That's one of the nutritional myths that we have out there, that fat is bad. We've covered that on a previous podcast. But if you eat things that are not going to put the extra fat on you, then, you can basically keep satiated that way and enjoy good foods, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, also to mention that, what we're talking about here is kind of changing your frame of mind about these foods and realizing your self-esteem when it comes to food, not completely, eliminating every dessert or everything that, is bad for you altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you get to this level of being able to make those decisions about your health, then you can have a dessert once in a while, and you can have a beer once in a while, things like that. It's not like you don't want to be in this restrictive mode where, it's all or nothing and you're counting calories and you're blocking yourself from having things that you will enjoy once in a while.
That would mean being at war with yourself, basically.
Right.
We want to end the war with oneself in order to achieve your ideal weight and a healthy mindset.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think that's about all we've got on today's show.
I think that's about it. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter. Just go to healthymindfitbody.com. You'll see our Twitter accounts, and we put little tidbits in there once in a while of some interesting things.
Right, and if you like this show, go to the iTunes listing and please give us a comment and a rating. That would help.
Indeed. Thanks for listening this week, and we'll talk to you all next week.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.